Welcome to the Half in the Bag Disc Golf Podcast, streaming to you as part of the Joe's Disc Golf Podcast Network. And here are your hosts, Ben, Joe, and RJ.
Welcome back, everybody, to Half in the Bag Disc Golf Podcast. Here where three of us friends get together, grab a few drinks, and ramble on about disc golf. Starting off, my name's Ben. I'm up in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Today, just keeping it simple with a nice little Bud Light to drink.
And my name is RJ. I am in Auburn, Indiana, and I am drinking a red table wine called Farmer's Choice from a local winery called Naughty Vines.
You should probably drink it from a glass, not the table. And I apparently forgot my password. I'm Joe, hanging out in Fort Wayne, drinking a sparkling Fiji water. I believe it's how it's pronounced. It's been a long, rough week.
Is it also pronounced douchebag?
Yes. It was given to my wife at the baby shower. I got a whole bunch of alcohol. My wife, who does not drink long before pregnancy, she's never drank, got a whole bunch of fancy water, and it is too fancy for her, so she doesn't drink it, so I'm drinking it. So I've got like 2 more liters of Fiji water. Next, I'm going to work on a liter of cola.
Well, you bring back the mustache, and that joke will make so much more sense.
Yeah, Farva.
Oh, man. Yeah.
That was your bachelor
You're
party,
still known as
Farva.
Yes. You're still known as Farva to some people in my wedding party.
Yep.
Always will be, and I'm proud of it. So.
Yep.
As long as you own
good stuff. Well, we do have some fun stuff to talk about, including, obviously, Twitter, Half in the Bag DG, as well as Joe's Disc Golf and Instagram at Joe's Disc Golf. We do have a website, halfinthebagdg.com, where we have things up there. Not a lot, but we have some things, I would say. We also have joesdiscgolf.com, where we do have some stuff. You can also catch this on YouTube if you aren't on YouTube and you're listening to this through the audio site. You obviously know that we have an audio version of this podcast with Anchor.fm, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Apple.
Wherever you get your major
Wherever
podcasts.
you get them. So we
we
got
all
plenty of
look much
stuff there.
better when the cameras are turned off. So.
Oh, yeah. Yep, we all
That's what
have
my
those
wife
faces
tells me.
for radio. We also have our weekly Skip Ace League that will be starting up in a couple weeks here. If you want to join, that is with code 3CQF, as in Frank. And that will also be in a link that I forgot to put in the last episode. So if you want to join...
Speaking of, did you ever figure out how to adjust the points yet?
Nope.
All right, we're running with it.
We're going to roll with it because I can't figure that out. Like, I don't know if we can adjust it. It seems like it's something that you should be able to adjust. If for whatever reason you want to adjust the points to like 10,000, then like that should be up to each league owner, but whatever. But we've got some fun stuff to talk about, including the All Star weekend predictions for the field events, as well as some sad stuff with a happy-ish ending, or happy turn of events at the way things are going now, and that is with Johne McCray. He was, for those of you who don't know, I believe it was on hole 13 is what someone on Reddit had said, claimed to be there. I don't know, it's Reddit, so I don't know why you'd want to lie about this thing, but people karma farm for stupid reasons because internet points are what we all want.
Joe, are you suggesting that someone would just go on the internet and lie?
What? No, maybe.
Yeah, I didn't think so either.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Joe Rogan.
And in related news, I'm a Nigerian prince, so if you could just, send me some money and I'll be able to,
Yeah, exactly.
You know how it works.
But apparently he was feeling some chest pains, and I think he collapsed. It kind of varied listening to the different versions of stuff. Either way, he was taken to a local hospital via ambulance, where he had apparently several stents put into his heart to open things back up again. It was kind of rough overnight. I guess some things didn't go so great, is what it sounded like. But then things have gotten better. He is off the ventilator. He is breathing on his own. He does need supplemental oxygen, at least for now. But the way things are shaping up, he should be headed home in the next couple days. But best case scenario, we won't see him back on tour for several months. Which just goes to show that even though I don't know the guy, but from just the pictures out there, he looked like a decently in shape dude. He's in his 50s, I believe.
I mean, he still plays a lot of disc golf.
He still plays a ton.
I mean, he's out there all the time. He's got a big social media. Him and his wife have a big social media presence. They're a lot of fun to follow and kind of watch their stuff and listen to their stuff. He's a really entertaining person to watch play.
Yeah. So it was sad. And the thing is, like, I've played on cards where several of the people on various cards I've been on could easily be Johne McCray's dad.
Yeah.
Like there are a few guys in the Fort Wayne club that are way up there, and it makes me nervous that some of these courses have a lot of challenging terrain that can get your heart rate up and cause some issues. And just advocating for get an AED, automated external defibrillator. They are idiot proof at least all the major tournaments. Not majors, but the huge tournaments where it makes sense.
Any local person that's debating it, it'd be hard to have for just a single tournament here and there because they are pricey, but there's grant money out there to try and get those. If they're not at the local park, to even just get one at the local park. There's a lot of grant money out there if you go through the right channels for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, it's those things save lives. Obviously with him having a heart attack, it's not going to be a catch-all, but it's certainly something that is always better to have than look after the fact and go, boy, wish we had one of those.
And the thing with those is they record all the heart rhythms and everything and can give some pretty valuable data to the emergency workers in the hospital. Yeah. That can help them if they're debating between specific treatments or not. Little out of my scope, little out of our scope, but it can definitely help other people who deal with this on a more regular basis give you the best options for treatment, I guess would be the best way to say it. Like for some of the larger clubs out there, like Fort Wayne has a pretty large club. There are a lot of tournaments going on just about every weekend. It would be a wise investment. I know there are certain clubs out in the Chicago area that have like thousands of members. We have a couple hundred. So it would make sense for those bigger tournaments to have something like that on hand.
And even if it's not the club that would own it, to write up the grant for the local park to get one there would be, even if the Parks and Recs department hasn't done it, maybe the disc golf club, in whatever area can make a push for that or make a, proposal for that at local, city meetings, park meetings, whatever the case be, because it's almost dumb not to have one out there. Everybody in the medical field is trying to push for them to be at popular places. Schools have multiple throughout most schools.
Yeah. I can tell you right now where there are 4 at the high school that I work at, including the one that I always carry with me. And I can tell you where each one of them is right now.
And it makes sense if they're at the school. And I know when I was at Shawano, we actually got one put out by the baseball, softball fields, which has a disc golf park out there also. So it's all, it's accessible for everybody year round.
Yep.
I made the push for it for the sake of my sports teams being out there. But one of my other kickers was we have a 9-hole disc golf course back there with people walking back in the woods. Let's get something back here. And it didn't take a lot of my chance. For my sake, because it was associated with the high school, we had the booster club help pay for it. But local parks, all it takes is a grant, and that money's out there for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and we have been on the disc golf course where we have had to call EMS. We've without getting too much into it, because this was years and years and years ago, but it's not impossible or impossible.
It's not impossible. Me fail English? That's impossible. Good job, Ralph.
Not English majors here.
Nope.
But No, anyone that's listened to us talk, no. Talking not our strong suit for those of us that host an audio podcast. But yeah, I mean, just getting something out there, for the general population is always going to be better, to help keep them safe. So just something to think about for your local park and for your local, for your local club. But when I first read this story, I'm like, wait, who is this? And then you guys told me, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I looked into it more, and it's great that he's doing well. Unfortunate that it happens, but it sounds like he's going to make a good, or it sounds like they're hoping that he's going to make a good recovery, which is always the
signs are pointing in a positive direction at this point.
Yes.
In this point in time, on February 6th, as of recording, sometimes, unfortunately, these things can take a turn real fast. And you just don't know. But as of right now, things are looking good. And, by 2023, probably be back out on the course, if not a bit sooner. I don't know how fast you can recover with these things. It's, for the three of us, we're used to working with high school and college athletes, so this is a little out of our scope.
They bounce back real quick at that level.
And they usually don't have heart attacks at 16, 17, 20 years old.
Let's hope not.
Usually it's dehydration, and that has to do with drinking, but that's a separate. Those
drinking
college kids.
Or not drinking.
Both.
Or both.
Yeah.
Both.
Drinking the right things at the right times.
And let's all just take a moment to hydrate.
Mine's empty.
I'll never argue.
I drink too much.
I hope that you brought an extra then.
I do. I'll go get it. You guys go talk on the next topic here.
Oh, goodness. We get to stall for Joe here. So one of the things that we talked about in our group, attempted to talk about here, is going to be going through the DGPT All Stars weekend happening here in a couple days. And Joe, on his solo podcast, kind of did more of a mock draft more than anything.
Yeah, mock draft. Tried to work through, where he thought everyone was going to go. So go ahead and listen to Joe's Disc Golf.
I'm back.
His podcast or his YouTube channel if you want to hear more about that. We're not going to get into where we think people are going to go, what teams they're going to be on. But
that was a cluster trying to
exactly.
That was a cluster for me trying to pick that and just go, because I'm like, all right, I didn't even count into fact of like, oh, well, Paige is friends with this one, or Katrina is friends with this person, or Calvin hates this guy, or whatever.
Everyone hates Nico.
But what we're looking at doing
on my poll on Twitter, he is second to last. I said, who do you think is going to be last to be picked on the men's side? And I think Ezra is getting beaten out by Nico by a vote. But it's pretty close.
Did you do it on Twitter or on YouTube?
YouTube.
Oh, I had to sign in to vote in that one.
I'll probably get out there. And I do want to make a correction. This is not a liter of water. It is only 700 milliliters. I don't want to be a liar here.
But what we're looking at doing in this group is, if we were captains and had to look at just the competitions that are coming up, not the match play, not the doubles play, if we had to pick who we think are going to win the driving competition, the putting competition, stuff like that. So looking at the skills competition, it's not exactly what I thought right away.
The problem with the skills competition is there's not a lot of detail out yet about this. The putting, we don't know if it's going to be 50-50, circle 1, circle 2. Is it going to be like some of these putting leagues where, you can throw them in from, 25 feet, but you're going to get twice as many points from 55 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing, like accuracy. I've listened to probably three or four different podcasts who are all like, what does that mean? What does accuracy mean?
And that's the thing. Like when we heard putting, accuracy, driving. Well, when we're thinking driving, we're thinking, okay, Ezra's going to be on top.
I guess
eagles will be
there
on top.
is-
But I'm reading this now, so it's putting with no extra thing. Shot shaping accuracy. So my guess is maybe they put a weird lie through the woods. Maybe they build their own kind of obstacle course, something along those lines.
It is
But
at
then
a
it's
ball golf
accurate.
course.
It is at accurate distance. So my guess is they're going to say 400, whoever's closest to 400. 450,
Or
whoever's
put
closest to
a
450.
basket out at 400 and go, all right, who's the closest at 400
so
or something
it doesn't
like that?
look like it's just going to be pure long drive like we were kind of initially thinking, and something that I don't necessarily know if it's been done at the All Star weekend, but long drive competitions has been a thing in the past.
At Worlds.
Could we also
Is that what
see
it is?
it
Okay.
be similar to like a almost like a quarterback challenge where you can throw it as far as you want, but after you get past a certain distance, you have to put it within a 20-foot window.
Yeah, that would actually be kind of fun. Yeah, like the old school quarterback challenges that I keep seeing pop up on my news feed on Facebook that I love watching over and over.
Yep.
That's what I can imagine. That was actually the first, one of the first video games I had was a
Quarterback club.
Yeah, quarterback club. Back when Madden had some challenges.
Yep. And screw the gameplay. Nobody wanted the gameplay. You bought that game for the quarterback challenge and played that for hours and hours on end.
I also love that you could put Peyton Manning at safety, so it doesn't work out because he was like a -5 rated safety. The always fleet-footed Peyton Manning.
Outside of height, he had nothing for that position.
I will say, the little bit of the interview I got from listening to, I forget if it was PDGA Radio or the Upshot, but Jeff Spring had said something along the lines of like, it sounds like it's going to be for the distance, like almost like keep it in the fairway type thing.
Okay.
Like it's not going to be too difficult,
that
but
would make sense.
It's not going to be like, all right, you're just going to take some crazy understable thing, chuck it a mile in the air, and then see where it lands. It's going to be, all right, well, it has to land within this 60-foot fairway. The accuracy is what I don't know. I don't know what they mean by that.
I think it could be really fun. I think it's something that I don't know what the right way to do it is, but I'm really excited for that one. I'm hoping it's more than just taking a target, putting it 100 feet away and saying hit it while aiming around this tree.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's something more fun than that,
Yeah, maybe it's throwing like a couple of mandos, not like a double mando or a triple mando, but like one mando right, then another mando right, 15
and then another
feet to the
mando left.
left.
Like you have to hit this weird tunnel. It has to snake through.
Yeah.
You have to play these lines.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what's going to be fun with that too is being curious to see what discs are pulled out.
Yes.
For as much as I love my Explorer and love my EMAC Truth, I have the odd feeling those aren't going to be the discs that you're going to need. I'm thinking stupid things like
not necessarily
the tilt,
but
the tilt, the Justice, what's that
Justice
one
is
that I heard
not
the other
stupid.
day? The Stego, that Williams disc putter that was just.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
watching Eric Oakley build the bag, and he threw it. That thing went like 100 feet and just dove straight down. Like it didn't curl left. It just went, stopped, turned 90 degrees, and fell. Like it's not something that skipped because it was so overstable. It turned too much to skip. As weird as that is.
Kind of like a Berg, but the Berg just kind of floats and dies.
Yeah, the Berg just stops. This one got to
turns
a point
and then dies.
like tombstone from a foot off the ground kind of idea. Like it was so. I am sure there are uses for that putter.
Probably.
I don't think I have uses for that putter, but a competition like this where you put that thing on like a 90-degree angle Annie the opposite way and just let it curl back around a tree, it could be really fun to watch this. And it sucks that there's no Simon because let's be fair, the distance would be fun, but I want to see Simon lines out of things that aren't supposed to have Simon lines like this. I think that would just be fun.
But the thing is, you only get to do one event. Whatever event you assign, that's it.
And you made it sound like, Joe, that as they're drafted, that's the position they're drafted for. So when they're drafting them, so if you're planning on Ezra being your long distance, but you want to hold him out for a while, and all of a sudden you realize, crap, all I have left is putting, he may be stuck left at your putting. So it could be some interesting style of draft of what do you see importance.
Yep.
So let me kind of go back to the notes here. Friday is the skills competition, so each team can get a point from each category. So you can score up to 3 points on that first day.
Yep.
On Saturday, they're doing the doubles. They're selecting 3 doubles teams.
Which is the other thing you have to consider when you're drafting your team, because those are the same 6 people who are going to be your doubles partners.
And it looks like the pairs are seeded by the lowest seed. So, like, if you're one that maybe drafts, Ezra, I think, came in as the 6th seed. But you draft him early to make sure that you can score a point on distance. It could potentially adjust how people are, because they have to be seeded compared on their doubles pairs based off of their seeding, not necessarily captain's choice.
So, Wait. Let me make sure I understand that correctly.
Yeah. I thought...
As in, you're saying that they're... Like, if you drafted, say, Ezra and then picked up Nico with the last pick, so if you're Calvin, those two automatically get paired together? Or are you saying that... Is that what you're saying?
I misread. So, pairs are seeded by the lowest seed after the player's individual seeds are combined. So I lied. So if Ezra would be 10, Nico would be 9, you'd have a 19. So they would play the lowest
of the other side.
So that way, you can't pick your you can try to plan your matchups if you want to do it that way.
Right. Yeah.
But, so I lied. You can pick your doubles team.
Okay.
Okay. That makes more sense.
And I guess that's probably the most fair way to do it. Then you just go, all right, your team is 19, this team is 17. Those are the 2 lowest. Fight it out.
Yeah, so each winning team or each winning pair receives 1 point. So again, you could get 3 points on day 2.
Yep.
And
so assuming a team is up 6-0 at this point, you then go, the seeds play their corresponding to the other team. Stroke play lowest total. Each winner receives 1 point for their team. So if you do have a complete sweep, and then one team in singles play has a complete sweep, it looks like it could end in a tie.
Yeah, I don't know how they would do that.
I don't know if they're going to do a tiebreaker, if you care to do a tiebreaker, because that just means it'd be one.
Well, there
hell of a
is
competition, but
the winning team, like, everybody gets $1,000 for showing up, and then the winning team gets a bonus payout. So
if I was a betting man, I would probably say in a tiebreaker, the team with the most individual play would probably be the winner.
Yeah,
assuming that's not a 3-3 split.
Or they just go captains and go hole 1.
Yeah, just go captain versus captain and do a sudden death. That'd be kind of fun.
Timber.
Maybe it'll be like captain versus captain. Okay, those guys tied. Captains, go ahead and almost do it like shootout style, where it's okay. Go ahead and choose your next person that you want to go into sudden death.
Does it say what time that they're starting on Sunday?
On Sunday.
Because you'd hope that they're going to be done by the mid-afternoon, considering the Super Bowl is...
At least according to the ticket
Superb
info.
Owl?
It does Sunday... No, but they end at 6 p.m.
Okay.
Because right now it's listed as Friday at 8 a.m.
Yep.
Through Sunday, 6 p.m.
Because that was my only concern.
MST.
The Super Bowl is happening on Sunday. And if they're trying to broadcast this on Disc Golf Network and you have the choice between watching Singles All Star and the Super Bowl, I think the ratings are going to take a hit.
I'll have one on my TV and one on my phone personally, just because, the game, not the Packers, are kind of done and out, is not nearly as much of interest to me.
So are the Bears.
Yeah.
But they've been out for a lot longer. You know my pain, RJ.
Months back. So.
We lost to the...
Hey, the Colts were right there.
Yeah, and then they blew it on the last day.
Hey, at least they didn't blow it like the Cowboys.
But so go into our idea.
Nobody blows it like the Cowboys.
Let's start with driving and what we expect, the distance competition. Let's play it like the RJ idea, kind of like the combo of it's longest drive, but within a fairway, idea.
Are we doing MPO or FPO first?
Let's start with MPO.
Okay, so your choice is here.
At the top of the list of players that I'm looking at.
Your choice is here for everybody who doesn't know. Your captains are Eagle McMahon and Calvin Heimberg. It is a snake draft in general. Eagle gets first pick because he's the higher of the 2 seeds. But then you have Chris Dickerson, Matt Oram, Kyle Klein, Gannon Burr, Kevin Jones, Nico LaCastro, Adam Hams, James Conrad, Ezra Aderhold, and Drew Gibson. Those are some big arms out there.
If you're trying to figure out why, Paul and Ricky were obviously in there and not in there, Ezra and Gannon Burr have taken their places on the side of the
bench. They both said that they don't. I guess in an interview Macbeth did with the Upshot, he said that he didn't know about the All Star weekend until like 2 weeks before they recorded the podcast. So that was like early January 2022. And he already had vacations planned with his family.
Yeah,
and then Ricky
wanted more time to learn his bag was another thing that he talked about too.
Which makes sense.
Rather than doing this, all right, cool. For his sake, I know I can take a trespass and crank it out there, but I want to kind of dial in knowing I got a tournament the next weekend.
Yeah, that harp. He's got to dial in the harp again. Like he's been throwing the pig, and they're similar, but they're not the same.
There's a different flight for sure, though.
Yeah, and same thing with the trespass and the felon and whatever else he's throwing. It's very similar to what he had.
Who knows what his distance driver is going to be? Honestly, there are, 4 new drivers out? Like, I don't think the Ballista Pro was here when he was with
I think it got approved when he left.
Coming out.
I think there were a couple discs that got approved when he left, but, he wasn't going to change because it's like, well, I can throw this disc for 2 months, but, what's the point?
Yeah. He's got to remember how to throw his daggers.
I don't think he needs to.
I tried putting.
I tried putting with the daggers. I don't like them. Too deep.
Really?
Too deep?
Too deep.
They are deep.
And I like
depending on your putting style.
I like a beefy bead. So the judge is like, I keep trying to switch away from the judge, and I keep coming back. And it's not for like lack of effort. It's not like I'm going, I throw like 3 or 4 putts with the dagger, or I switch to the Swan 2 Reborn. And I tried, and I gave like the Swan.
That sounds like a really crappy.
I know.
But no. I was gonna say that sounds like a really crappy
movie
sequel to Swan Lake.
Yes, but the Swan 2, like I tried that. I think I was putting with that for a good month and a half, and the daggers, I did my normal. I did 100 practice putts with them, and I only had 2, so that took a while. But I gave them a fair shake, and I just couldn't get. Like I wasn't making any more or less than my average. It just didn't feel comfortable in my hand. Is what it was.
Yeah.
And feel is a big thing.
That's a big reason why I actually took the EMAC Truth out, or no, not the
Judge
Truth, the EMAC Judge out of my bag was because I'm like, I don't love the feel of it.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a place to donate them, I do love the feel of it.
Which is great. I
got a handful of deputies. If you want to get rid of that bead completely, I got a handful of deputies that I used to do, and it turns out I don't like the big bead on the judge.
You like the micro bead,
but I like something that my finger can slide up onto, and that's the perfect size of that micro bead.
Have you tried
just
the Maiden?
Gives you kind of a resting point.
Is that why Kayla's always happy?
Hey, I'll do what I can.
Boy, Joe, you're probably going to have to edit that part out.
Yeah, we'll see. So do you like the...
No, clip that for the shorts. That'll get some.
So do you like the Maiden then? Or is that too shallow?
Honestly, I didn't try it because the only Maidens we have are in the prime plastic. And I personally don't like the hard of the prime compared to the blend that I use.
See, and I like soft, so...
Yeah, and I like the blend. I like having a little bit more stiffness, but the primes were a little too much for me.
Although I will say, RJ's losing it.
Keep drinking, buddy. Keep drinking. We'll move on eventually.
I like the in between. Like I actually the daggers I got were the 0 medium, and I actually kind of like medium plastic,
which is the blend. I mean, it's the same theory.
It's the same idea. I don't know. Classic soft though is where it's at. I miss the classic super soft. That slammer I had. Oh,
so it tacoed around the basket and bounced out, Joe.
I hit
tacoed around the basket and bounced out.
I hit the pole with an improbable S curve on like a. Is that hole even 200 feet?
No. Absolutely not. It might
It
be
S-curved
150.
around everything, and I hit the pole, and the disc tacoed and bounced out. Like, that was the biggest mix of emotions I've ever had in disc golf. Like,
And
I've had
that's
some
why
close
all of the
misses.
pros use a hard plastic to avoid that right there.
I've had some close misses before, but never have I hit the heart of the chains, hit the pole on a drive, and it bounced out. But I guess we should probably talk about what we actually started
I was
with.
going to say, in typical half-in-the-bag fashion. What the hell were we doing?
Yeah.
What do you want to
Do we
start?
want to get into the long drives?
I'm sorry, start long drive here. So let's say out of that list, we want to pick 3 names that we would pick for long drive.
Yeah, this is tough. Well,
And I think the first one would be obvious, but maybe not this year. Your first pick,
Eagle?
when you're thinking long drive, has to be Eagle. But do you think, especially as captain, he puts himself in that role with his elbow the way, or his shoulder the way it's been? And I don't think he does.
I don't think he does either.
here's
Let's be
the
fair,
other
if he
thing.
does, he's still my pick to take first.
Here's the other thing, though. Statistically speaking, he is the best putter in Circle 1 and Circle 2 in this competition. He is 89% from Circle 1 and 32% from Circle 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
so that's the other part that's difficult, is he is the best for disc. Well,
If I am him, I don't put myself in that situation, knowing that Las Vegas is in 2 weeks.
Yep.
That's
a
going to be
big
a bomber course.
Yeah. Not even. Isn't it the weekend after?
That's two. It's
No,
the
it's
24th.
the-
Is it 2?
20th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then is it Texas State or is it Waco that's the bomber? I always get it.
Waco, Texas State is where I used to live in Tyler, Texas.
Yes.
And that
yes.
course is like
It's a
Tillman
half
on
and half,
steroids.
Isn't it half and half? Isn't there some open, some wooded, or is that Waco?
Waco.
One of them is
Yeah.
very half and half, I recall.
Texas State's is
So it must
very
be
much in the woods.
Just woods. Okay.
If I am him, I am protecting my arm and I do not put myself in there.
Yeah.
It also doesn't hurt to maybe not show your competition how good or how healthy your arm is or how unhealthy it is.
Yeah, because I haven't seen him even doing any real, like, YouTube or Instagram stuff. Like,
He's
he does
been
stuff,
fairly
but not
quiet on
like.
his YouTube channel
Yeah.
Yeah.
compared
so
to what he had been.
I don't expect him to be in that one. Otherwise, I think he's an obvious pick.
Yeah.
So I think the other obvious pick there is Ezra.
Yeah, I
Ezra.
think Ezra. If you're going to pick him, especially with his
Drew
kind
Gibson
of
can bomb, too.
inconsistencies he showed, I think if you're picking Ezra, your thought is this guy's going to crank on the
Yep.
disc.
Yeah, this dude's
So-
going to bomb a nuke and
Yep.
we'll watch it go.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Yeah, the other name you said, Drew Gibson.
Yep.
He would be an interesting one depending what the accuracy competition is because he does have a soft touch when he does throw.
Yeah. And
But
when I made
think
my
based
draft
off
list.
of the names on here,
Yeah.
that guy can crank it 500 plus without trying.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
When I made my
he's
my draft list, I basically just put the guys. I picked my distance, I picked my putting, and then whoever was left was accuracy. Just for not knowing what accuracy means.
Yeah.
It was more so like, okay, well, you guys are doing accuracy because I know what
Yeah.
and even to a certain extent, like I don't know what putting means. I just picked the best putters.
Yeah. I mean, we all have ideas of what the putting could be. I can't imagine the putting's going to be anything overly
Maybe
creative.
it's-
No, but
here,
if they're
you need to putt around this bush, under this tree, from one knee.
I mean,
but
hell, they
that-
could be doing they could do the Jomez thing where you're essentially playing horse and calling your shot, and then that's what you have to putt after. I mean, they could do something like that. I don't think they will, but they could.
that'd be interesting.
That actually would be really interesting. I would
I say, have you
enjoy
guys
that.
have you guys watched that kind of little mini series? Jomez
I've caught the clips on Instagram, and
It's-
like,
it's
I've
interesting.
seen the one where Simon dives into the water.
Yeah, chasing after his disc. Oh, I can promise
Yes.
you, I would be doing that too with my putting putters.
oh yeah,
Oh, with my
I
classic
have
soft
done
blue
that
judge.
with my putting putters.
Yes, I would too.
I may
yes.
not have gone a head first swan dive, but I have definitely been.
You've walked out
not
onto some
dry
ice.
driving home
That
after
was
a couple.
definitely for the camera, was it not?
Well, I'm
Yes.
sure. But at the same
That-
time, he's coming.
That was a let's have fun with this.
Well, when those were recorded, were right before competitions.
Mm-hmm.
Like at during warm-up rounds of competitions, and if that's the putter you have dialed in, yeah, it's for the camera. But he also wanted that disc back.
Yes, he did. I mean,
look
at
the
Johne.
to just lose a baseline plastic crap out in the water, whatever. There's things where they're joking intentionally trying to throw discs in the water.
I mean, look at Yuli and the couple times he's gone in, wading in, chest deep water, trying to find his whatever disc that he's had for 6 years.
From a couple years ago, where he's neck deep in the water.
Well, he also did that this last year. I forget where they were warming up, but he went in somewhere and was like waist deep, and he pulled out he found a dozen discs. And
I'm sure
none of them were his. He eventually got one of the camera guys jumped in too, and he found it. But it was just funny because he's like, well, that's not it, but so-and-so's going to be happy. Oh, nope, that's not it either.
Well, I mean, there's those holes that you think of, that one at Memorial, 18 at Memorial where you got to crank across. You know, you can try to go over in one if you're a huge bomber. You think of, the Country Club in Emporia with, the old DGO, the DDO now.
Yep.
Where you have to cross that little, just a small little pond with a tiny island, but it's so easy to skip off.
Number 9 at Sweeney. How many putters have we pulled out?
I remember that one day. Yeah. I think it was you and me that one day. We pulled out 15 looking for our one disc.
Yep.
A foot into the water. We didn't go in. We were just reaching over the edge.
Yeah, we were leaning on the
15
shore.
15 putters.
I mean, it does drop off pretty fast.
Turtle.
Yeah.
What's that?
Said you're lucky you didn't pull out a snapping turtle.
Well, Joe and I have also gone swimming in that pond in the past.
Oh yes,
we've both been in there. It's a very mucky bottom.
Very.
Yeah, no.
Very
I
mucky
would not.
bottom. Yeah, it was very disgusting. But I know I've gone in after a couple. Got a couple back. Others haven't.
Well, and you guys remember the really, really old driver that I had, technically the first disc I ever owned.
The probably no name brand thing. I'm sure there was a name brand, but I don't remember it had one.
Right. I called it the dinosaur because it was that
I think
old.
it's probably worth something.
It probably is, and it's sitting at the bottom of a lake in Huntington because I grip locked it into the pond.
Yeah. I've got that pond has several of my discs too. Probably about.
I hate throwing over open water.
See, and it wasn't over open water. It was that's a good shot. Tree kick, hard left, kept on going.
Yeah. So for the distance,
list, we said Ezra.
Yep.
Yes.
We said Ezra and Drew.
I would think Kyle Klein, probably our next giant bomber.
I'd say so.
Kyle Klein is a good call. Look at the list.
Calvin Heimberg has some sneaky distance too.
Yes. Heimberg is one, especially for his side. Yeah. I would think he'd put himself on putting, depending on who he's able to draft.
Yeah.
I could see him doing accuracy too, though, just because he's so consistent.
He is.
Yeah. Yeah, depending on what the situation is.
He's really a wild card in that I could see him putting himself wherever he needs himself.
Yeah. If he's short putting, he'd go there.
Most of these guys. I mean, there's a reason they're the top 10 players last year.
Yeah. I mean, the worst.
They all can do kind of everything.
Technically top 14.
I have I have the statistics pulled up here. The two worst putters out there are Nico Lacastro at 74% circle 1 and 24 circle 2. And this is C1X, I should say.
Mm-hmm. And I'd say probably Ezra.
Ezra at 79 and 25.
Yeah.
That's the worst. Eagles at 89%. There's 10 percentage points between the top and second to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
These guys, and honestly, if any one of them gets on a roll, Nico hits a good putt, he can get on
Nico's
a roll.
on, he is on.
The problem is he's not always
when Nico is on, you can make argument that he's the best putter in that tournament.
Yeah. The problem is his inconsistency.
But the thing is, Simon Lazat's that same way. When Simon's on a roll, that guy's hitting from 80 it's not a problem.
So here's realistically,
it's crazy to watch.
Realistically, putting any one of those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I would think putting.
Let's talk putting.
Yeah, let's jump there. Yeah. I think, like you said, Eagle is the top spot for putting because it forces him to save his arm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And he's damn good at it.
Oh, yeah. He's the best putter out there. I put, if this favors circle 2, I'm putting James Conrad. That step putt is deadly.
Yeah. Nico's in that same boat, too, because Nico's step putt is really good.
Oh, yeah.
I could also see James Conrad going into that accuracy depending on what it is.
When you think accuracy, he's the one that comes to mind.
I mean, we have all seen the clip. We don't need to rehash that.
Mm-hmm.
But that is shot shaping right there.
The question is, for that accuracy, how long of a run-up do they have?
Or when it comes to putting, I want to put Gannon Burr in putting, but does the 30-second rule apply again?
Gannon,
like on a serious basis, because Gannon is a great putter.
Statistically, he is second only to Eagle.
So I actually like him in this one. I would say my 3 would be Eagle, Gannon, and Nico. Because I don't know where you put Nico if not in putting.
Oh, accuracy. If it has to do with that S shot, that guy is probably the best at throwing an overstable disc.
Watching him at Waco.
Stupid lines.
Watching him at Waco throw Annie lines where I'm like, I'm even looking at that going, just throw it straight.
Yeah. If you say throw it straight, something is not right.
But it's like, obviously that's why he's one of the best in the world. But it's still like, just throw it straight.
So it's almost like it's the opposite of a Simon line.
Yeah, he's not going around anything.
Line?
He's going through things.
Yes.
Simon just goes up and over.
Yeah. Nico doesn't have that kind of power.
No. So, yeah, it'll be curious. As far as putting, Matty O has a unique putting style.
Yep, but
he just throws darts.
That's a sneaky pick.
No, he doesn't throw darts.
He's here.
That's Innova.
Yeah.
I used to putt with a dart back in the day.
That just hurt. Ouch.
Hey, Joe. Go out the door. Just go. Yep. You're in the corner for the next 2 minutes of the podcast.
He can throw daggers.
And mute Joe's mic.
I'm the sober one too.
Let's see. Can I mute someone else?
Yeah.
The other one for putting too, depending on the situation, if it's weird lies and stuff, Kevin Jones with that big old straddle putt. I mean, depending, like if it is more of a obstacle course, you have to get around things kind of player.
He's definitely.
I think Kevin Jones could be a really, really good pick for that too.
Outside of Macbeth, he makes some weird shots.
Yeah, and makes them look easy.
And
that
works.
line was there the whole time. Like, no, that was like a foot between those trees from 40 feet back.
Yeah,
no one's hitting that.
Yep.
So it could be interesting. When it comes to the accuracy, depending on what it is, I personally think Nico is going to be either your best or your worst.
If he's on, he's on.
If it's creating a weird line, some sort of Anheuser overstable drop, yes.
Yeah.
If it's you have a foot tunnel to shoot through, hell no.
Yeah.
Depending on what it is. I mean, if they just have here's a narrow tunnel, who can make this shot?
Yeah. Or who can make it the furthest?
The guy I'm going to go with. I'm thinking Adam Hands in that kind of situation. Chris Dickerson in that kind of situation. Matty O can definitely hit things like that, but it's curious to see what it'll be.
Yeah,
I think like you mentioned, Conrad. I mean, when you think of a narrow tunnel woods kind of player, Conrad
that's where he shines. That's typically where he shines.
And so I would assume, like you said jokingly though, the run up does make a big difference for him.
Yeah,
I mean, I know it's kind of the running joke that the guy needs like a 30-foot long tee pad, but he does well with what he does. So it could be really interesting on those.
Yep. But that
RJ,
pretty much does it.
Did we lose you there?
I'm very confused.
Oh, no.
Why?
Because right now I have spinning dots for both of you.
Well, that's okay. We can still see and hear you.
No, we can't.
Never mind.
Hey,
We just lost them.
I get to be the happy person that's here all day.
RJ, you ruined everything now. Somewhere in about 45 minutes, I have to change the logo from being on the bottom left to the bottom right.
Is your camera on?
Oh, wait. What the? RJ? It is not on right now.
No, it's not. I don't know what's going on. I suspect it's because I just got a notification that my battery is dying.
Yeah, you should probably plug it in.
Yeah,
your camera's not around. Have fun with the editing on this one, Joe.
Oh God. Screw
you're
you.
welcome.
We can stall till technical difficulties are done for the sake of not losing too much info.
Yeah. We can do some fun stuff.
Holy cow.
Oh, I just got notification that
Yes, I know my battery is running low.
never mind.
Hey,
we're back.
and we're back.
I had a notification saying that Johne McCray posted something on Instagram, but his wife has taken over all of his socials.
They kind of share to start with, to be fair.
Yeah, but I mean, like, obviously now she's the only one doing it, and she was just sharing some of the nice posts people have been sending about, like,
that's nice.
sending some prayers and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
But
all right, well, for the sake of Joe's editing, and we're back.
Pretty much. I might just leave it all in there.
Too much there.
I might just leave it all in there because I don't know how much time I'm gonna have to be able to edit this.
Yeah.
Because my daughter's being extra needy this week. It's been taking us about 5.5 to 6 hours to put her down for the night.
So are you coming into teething? It's got to be about that time. Huh?
Not yet. Nothing that we can see or
I can give you
feel.
some of Pepper's teething toys.
There's not much of a difference between baby teething toys and puppy teething toys.
There's really not.
that giraffe that you have.
Yep. Makeout giraffe. That's what I call it, makeout giraffe, because it's this little chewy thing, and it's got a mouth that's open just a little bit, and she just goes mouth right in and just like starts chomping on it and licking at it, and it looks like she's making out with the plastic giraffe, so I call it makeout giraffe. My wife doesn't appreciate that.
Yeah, I bet she doesn't. So my godchild has one of those.
It's like crack for babies.
I don't know what is in that thing, but yeah, it's catnip. It's whatever. So we were over at my in-laws for Christmas, and he had his little giraffe, and my dog Pepper just runs over and starts to try and grab it. I'm like, no, Pepper, that's not your teether. That's Elliot's. Oh man, but not a lot of difference between baby teethers and dog teethers.
I guess we can move on to the FPO. This is where things get a little interesting.
Yeah, because I'll be honest, there's a couple people on here, that I don't know as well.
Yes, I am with you there, and I have some stats pulled up, and their putting overall is not that good compared to the men.
No.
Paige Pierce is the best putter.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, I lied.
But she's also by far and away your longest drive out of that
lied.
group.
Missy Gannon is your... Nope. Owen Scoggins is your best putter. I don't have
That's what I was saying. No. Looking at putting, I was going to say Owen.
Owen and Heather Young.
So, really quickly, do we want to run through this list?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, so okay. We do that. So the top two captains are going to... Oh, you got it? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, your captains are Paige Pierce and Katrina Ellen, Missy Gannon, Sarah Hokum, Haley King, Jessica Weiss, Kona Panis, Lisa Fakis, Heather Young, Owen Scoggins, Deanne Carey, and Rebecca Cox are the All-Stars. One quick note is Kristen Tatar was unavailable, so Rebecca Cox is the alternate there.
Yep.
As you said, it's a little bit hard for me to figure out where Paige is going to put herself, because it feels like she could go anywhere and may very well win all three, but that's not how this works.
Yes.
Well, it's also one of those two, kind of in the same situation as Eagle and Kelvin. Put yourself where your team needs you.
Yeah.
Maybe don't have a spot for yourself picked out because, maybe the way the draft plays out, if you could pick up two really good putters, okay, I'm putting myself in distance of, I want to get the putters taken out of the way because I like the way my planned pairings go.
Yep.
Maybe, the planned pairings in something like women's, I think makes more of a difference than the men.
It could.
Because you don't necessarily want to put two similar style players on the same card. That's why I always laugh. Like, with Joe and I make a good, pairing when it comes to partners, because we have two different throwing styles. So depending on the hole, we kind of set ourselves up for some good pairings when we do that. That's why Joe and I always like to play doubles together, because you're forehand dominant, my backhand dominant. We can hit shots that the other one can't. We both suck at putting, but that's a whole different story. But like,
my worst,
it's kind of fun. So like, especially for women, there are some huge differences in distance. There are some huge differences in putting.
Yeah.
So these captains, rather than maybe drafting for competition, might be trying to play pairings and then figure out the competition stuff after. I don't know if that's the theory.
I mean, like,
but if I were Paige or Katrina, that's what I would probably be looking at.
If Paige goes, Paige is going first. She's going to pick first. If she wants to just lock down distance, pick Haley King.
Yeah.
She is the next furthest thrower after Paige.
Yep.
And so,
then with Katrina probably shortly after that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and she's the other captain. So if you want to, I figure, I look at it this way, like, whoever picks up Haley, you just lock down distance and just, maybe you give up somewhere else. Because Katrina gets back-to-back picks. She could easily lock down, Owen and Heather Young. And then
and have the putting.
And then putting's locked down. And then you just go, well, here are my picks for whatever.
Yeah. Well, and let's be fair, when it comes to accuracy stuff, too, a lot of it depends on the weather that day.
Oh, yeah.
If it's windy, it's a total different game. If it's, cold, or I think they're playing warm, obviously. They're in
Tucson.
West Coast, so.
If it's cold there, then it's probably about a 60-degree day.
Yeah. I remember traveling
we made it up to
there.
30 today. Everything melted. I was pretty happy.
Yeah. I remember traveling to Tucson
heat storm
March
today.
a couple years ago, and like it would get up to like 70, 75 and no humidity. Overnight it would be like 30. It was great. It was so I understand after doing it for a week, I understand why everybody moves there for the winter. I get it. I mean, I miss the snow, don't get me wrong, but I get it.
Yeah, until you have to shovel the snow.
Yeah, for the 3 days you want to see snow, you can travel at that point.
Yeah, you can go to the mountain.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, when it comes to distance, I think you're right. I mean, Paige, Katrina, Haley, I just feel like they're a mile and a half ahead of this group.
Yeah.
I know Rebecca can put some sneaky distance on her stuff.
That was another person I had in distance, and Deanne Carey.
Yep, Deanne can definitely crank on. Heather can too, can't she? Or am I not thinking right?
With how good her putting is, like
putting, you almost have to use her for putting.
It's pretty much like if you don't use her for putting, you're kind of wasting her. Like, she is good elsewhere. Don't get me wrong. It's just she's so much better at putting that it's like, well,
yeah. So maybe the easy thing here to do is let's start with putting and kind of figure out where we, who we want to go there. Joe, you said I think you made the argument pretty clear for Heather Young.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Owen's up there too.
They both.
Owen is
Heather
very,
and
very
Owen are 84% from Circle 1. Where they differ is Circle 2. Heather Young is 19%, and Owen Scoggins is 15%. So slight advantage there. Honestly,
though, but what's their park rate at? Is one of them getting a lot more putts than the other?
I don't have those stats in front of me.
Okay, I didn't know if you were up on the page at the time.
No, this is just what I wrote down there. Circle 1, Circle 2, fairway hits, and OB rate.
Okay. And because that could be something, too, is maybe one of them is just not seeing many of them compared to the other. I don't know. That'd be something to kind of consider, too, because, maybe your Circle 2 putting isn't great because you're parking everything,
Yeah.
That could always be something, too.
I will definitely say I think my best Circle 2 percentage came when I hit, like, one Circle 2 putt, and I only had, like, 3 the whole day. So that Circle 2 percentage can vary quite wildly.
Yeah.
All right, so Owen's parked percentage is 5%. Circle 1 in regulation is 20%. Circle 2 in regulation is 39%.
Okay, so she's
and who's the other person? There. Heather Young, right?
Heather Young, so 39% from Circle 2. And then
I'm working on it. The site is running a bit slow here. And
so
parked percentage is 4% for Heather Young. And
okay, what was her circle 2 in 1 or whatever it is?
Circle 1 in regulation is 20%, so 1% better. No, same. And her circle 2 percentage in regulation is 38%, so 1%
okay,
less. So essentially, they're the same person.
Anything.
Yeah,
No.
they are.
So I think those two will probably battle it out for that kind of putting title.
Yeah.
Honestly,
they're on the
same
same team.
there.
And if they're on the same team, I think there's your point.
Their stats are almost identical in every single way, other than like scramble percentage. Own is 33%, and Heather is 45%. Now I don't know if that's because Heather ends up in the crap more than Own.
Yeah.
And so if you just don't end up in it, you don't get out once, and that is way worse than, if you live in the crap, then hey.
So who would you go with for, your third, fourth? Because I think 1 and 2 are solid, and we're gonna just for the sake of this assume Paige's distance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Missy Gannon's pretty solid.
Missy Gannon's pretty solid. I like Kona's putt. The thing is,
Kona's
she's
putt is
working
awful.
on that, but she's working on this new one and has spent a ton of time putting.
But
she spent more time putting, it feels like, than anything else lately. So, hit
my
the
question
rhythm, ride the
is,
hot hand.
where do you putt Kona?
Accuracy.
I think she's really, really solid on those touch shots. I think that's where she makes up a lot of her game, it feels like, is she's got an average arm. She had a below average putt, so it was a lot of that touch kind of getting it to where she didn't have to putt.
Yeah.
I think with her focusing so heavy on her putting, I don't think she'll be used in putting, but I think it'd be interesting to see if she does.
I can't wait to see her.
I want to see her in that doubles format. I think her putting is going to be better this year.
Yeah.
Especially,
how can it be worse?
You pair her
it's
up
got to get better.
You pair her up with someone like, I don't know, Haley.
Yeah, that's just going to put them in position.
And then, Haley's going to bomb it out there. And Kona can give you a safe shot. Still pretty far out there. But know that, all right, Kona's throwing it. It's in the fairway. We're good. Run it,
Kona and Rebecca are very good friends, so it'd be kind of fun to see them on the same team for that same kind of theory. Rebecca has that little bit more power behind her. All right, Kona plays a safe one. Rebecca's cranking. Joe, that's how you and I play. I play the safer line, and then you kind of put the power behind it, and it's worked out well for us in the past, kind of having that, there's times, sure, both of you can open up, but then there's times to kind of play that more consistent line. I think that's what's fun, especially in best shot. Alternate doubles, you have to play consistent.
Yeah, and statistically speaking, putting Kona with Rebecca, his putting is rough. Yeah. Going off of last year, you're talking 50. Kona is the better of the two at 54% C1X and 5% Circle 2. Rebecca Cox is 48% and 10%.
Yeah.
So slightly better for
Kona's putting a lot of time in, so I'm expecting those numbers to go up.
Yeah. And I'm expecting Rebecca to get better this year too. I think
she's been with Latitude now for a couple of years. Yep. Kind of getting that consistency underneath her. And I think she's been traveling more in the last year or two.
I think she hasn't been traveling as much, so that was kind of new.
Yeah.
So do we want to talk accuracy or distance next?
I think accuracy, because the one that stands out for me is Sarah Hokum.
Yep.
That's the one that stands out for me too.
That's who I was putting up there
to James Conrad.
The forehand.
Exactly. Is because she can shape that forehand just like we talked about with James Conrad. Obviously opposite in that, one is forehand, one is backhand. But to me, it's okay. She clearly has a bunch of different shots with this forehand. Mm-hmm. So I want to see what she can do with that.
She can throw a backhand, and it's not awful. I watched her throw it a couple times in tournament, and she's not going to win any distance competitions, but she's she can get it there and put it where she wants it. So for accuracy, if for whatever reason she can't throw, or it doesn't make sense to throw a turnover forehand, she can do a backhand.
Yeah. Well, and that's going to be the thing, too. She's a big wild card depending on how it's set up, because all of these girls are fairly backhand dominant.
Yes.
So she's the one. So depending on how, if the accuracy is set up to put them all at a task and there's a lot of dogleg right type shots to kind of force them to throw shots they're not necessarily used to, she's at a huge advantage.
Yep.
But if knowing they're all backhand players and it's a lot of kind of shape your shot and end it to the left to kind of give them all a fair game, it becomes a lot tougher on her.
Mm-hmm.
So she's kind of, depending on how it's set up, I think it's going to be either a huge advantage or a huge disadvantage, depending on how the accuracy section is set up.
If you don't put her in accuracy, where would you put her?
I would say putting. I mean, she's never been known to have a big drive.
Yeah.
That would be my thought too.
She's not a bad putter by any means.
Yeah,
she's not great, but she's not bad.
I think her
top
best
of
event would be that accuracy.
She's like one of the top putters, and she's 73% from C1X.
Okay.
Which is,
I mean, an accuracy could be, like we said, quarterback challenge. Maybe 100 feet out, they put a target, and you got to hit, somewhere in that target. We don't really
know what
have
it is,
an idea. Not having seen an event like this, or if there has been, I haven't paid enough attention to it. It's something that I think it's going to be fun to watch, and next year we can be more prepared to make the wrong predictions again.
If they don't change it,
have an idea of what we're talking about.
Yeah, if they don't change it all,
the same format.
Because
just
they've
because
changed
we think we know it, they'll switch it up.
They've changed this format big time from last year.
Well, because there was no skills thing last year, right? Wasn't it just it was almost like a fundraiser style tournament where we're going to go out and have fun, didn't really take it seriously.
Yeah, it was
it was just kind of a day to get out.
It was best shot doubles, then worst shot doubles, or awkward shot or something. It was basically best shot and then not best shot, however you want to call it, which, whatever. And then your scores got carried over to the next day, whereas singles. And then,
was it maybe just alternate shot, or was it like a worse shot?
It was like a worse shot type situation, which I don't know
Those
how
can be rough.
Yeah, so that was how it was last year, and I think Kona was paired with Macbeth, because those are the two who won it.
Oh, that's right, yeah, because it was mixed. They kind of did it a mixed thing last year.
And basically between those two, they just crushed it.
Mm-hmm.
And because not that Kona played bad for her individual play, but if she made a mistake, whoop-de-doo. Like, she had enough of a lead where it was like, all right, so I lost a stroke or two here.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of like it's stroke play, but then it's also kind of stroke play on the tournament.
Yes.
You can't really build it. Like I said, if you dominate the first 2 days, you can still lose it on the third day. And I kind of like that it kind of every day matters.
Yeah.
And like you said, I like that there's enough prize money that, it's going to be a fun weekend. These guys are out here all-stars, just like NBA, just like, pro football. It's a fun game, but there's actually a reason to kind of care about it because the prize money is pretty decent. Yeah.
Unlike a lot of the other all-star games, like, I don't know if anybody looked at the Pro Bowl this year, but it was just a step up from two-hand touch.
Right now.
Yeah.
I try not to watch the Pro Bowl because it's the Pro
my
Bowl.
father-in-law had it on. It was a recording. I don't know if it was from last year. And I was just like, is this two-hand touch in full pads? Like, this is awful. Why do people pay money to watch this?
It's like the NBA. If you think the NBA rules are already soft with kind of traveling and things like that, they just completely disappear during the All-Star game.
You might as well just watch the Harlem Globetrotters at that point.
It's really what it comes down to.
At least at that point, when you go watch the Globetrotters, you know what you're getting.
Harlem Globetrotters with ridiculous talent.
I'll be honest, I like watching the Globetrotters, though.
I do too.
I do too. But I go.
Have you guys done that
don't
recently?
go in there to watch them I don't go watch the Harlem Globetrotters to expect, tight games and travel and,
No.
You're not expecting the Washington Generals to win?
No.
They did once, though, didn't they? Don't they have one win?
They are 1 and
something.
A whole bunch of losses.
Yeah.
1 and the rest.
Yes.
And then,
What's funny is when you look at them, they're still really, good athletes on that other team.
Oh, yeah.
It's just kind of funny. But
yeah.
So I mean,
so anyway, so we said Sarah Hokum for the accuracy. Is there anyone else that we think would really be a standout for accuracy?
I think Diane Carey falls in that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Jessica
she's
Weiss.
got some really good play. Jessica Weiss could definitely fall in there.
Kona.
Lisa Ficus always seems to be making some weird shots herself.
Yeah.
I think Lisa, her biggest thing is just consistency.
Blame the J in her name?
Yes.
Yeah. She just doesn't make a ton of mistakes. And I think, her consistency is what keeps her up here. She's not amazing at anything, but she's not bad at anything. She kind of just
she's a
does
solid
it
player.
all quietly, always going to be in your top 10 finishes for the women. Like,
yep.
If you ever, when it comes to our skip base thing, if you want a consistent pick, Lisa's your consistent
pick. That's a good
pick.
one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's just always kind of that safe, gonna be right there kind of, player. So, it's kind of interesting. And like you said, we're kind of using that accuracy category to, not necessarily dump people, because we think there are certain players that can do really well, but
we don't know.
I think
we talked about Kona
the
being
accuracy
good in
would
that
be a
spot.
good place for her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you say, RJ?
I said, we talked about Kona being a good spot, or being a good fit for that spot because of her touch. So, I think it's hard to predict exactly what's going to happen without really knowing, kind of going into it blind. And obviously with accuracy being kind of the most hazy of those. I mean, distance, who can rip a disc 5 bajillion miles?
Yep.
Other than Simon. And putting is who's going to hit the most putts.
Yep.
But, accuracy could mean anything.
Yeah.
Could mean who can place a 200-foot, forehand within 5 feet of a basket. Who can hit a target, who can... It really could be anything.
Or is accuracy the thing that they were kind of doing when the rangefinders came out? Who can be the closest to 200 feet? Who can be the closest to 150? And it's kind of knowing your discs, and maybe it's an open field thing, but you're trying to play to a specific, this is a 250-foot shot for me, and you're trying to play as close as you can to 250 without a guide.
Yeah.
That could be something they do too. I mean, I haven't looked at the sponsors, but I know Bushnell's been making a lot of push to try and be a sponsor at every event. So, I mean, that could be something too where you're trying to, appeal to the big sponsor groups coming in.
Yeah. Bushnell is one of the big sponsors for... is it the All Star event?
A lot of the tournaments.
Well, there's Bushnell Alley or Avenue or something like that. Where,
what event was that you were talking about on your podcast? I can't think of what it was now.
I'm thinking it's probably Vegas.
That's what I was thinking too, but I'm not 100%.
Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do, and you can still see a handful of holes from wherever Bushnell Alley or whatever is called.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
it kind of sounds like the infield at the Indy 500.
Yeah. You'll be able to see some stuff, but it's not like it's a cool experience, but not necessarily the best seats.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's you're going there to have a good time, not to get the best view on everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
I gotta say though, I'm excited for tournaments to come back. I mean, we've had a couple tournaments that have been televised, not necessarily through your top televising, your top post-production companies. There's something about just that Jomez production that you're happy to watch for sure.
Jomez?
Yep.
Is that what you're really looking forward to?
Yeah, some of those shots, just the follow flights. When you just get some of those amazing, like, how the hell did you do that? Shots are just so pretty.
Yep.
But those kind of tournaments coming up, I'm really excited. And this is going to be kind of that first idea of like, okay, there's tournaments with all the big names, not just one or two, like, that Shannon, not Shannon Sharp, Shelly Sharp.
Close.
You had Leveska in there, you had Barella in there, you had Drew Gibson, you had some names, but this is the one where it's like, okay, all of our big names are back. Yeah, you're kind of missing
Paul.
You're missing your Ricky and Paul, but
I was talking about Vegas.
That one. But we kind of mentioned it, when we were doing our things the last couple of weeks of the men's group is stacked. So kind of watching that grouping come through is going to be a lot of fun.
Women's is going to be exciting though too.
The women's this year, once we get into these first couple tournaments and you get those Vegas and Waco, I think, are just going to be so much fun to watch this year.
Yeah.
With the European players coming over, really kind of seeing that world competition coming. And what's nice is I'm always really good at following the beginning of the year. So I have like the Vegas, layout in my mind. I can actually see holes happening. I have the Waco memory in my mind. We played Disc Golf Valley enough. You got DDO kind of just, in your mind from what we can see on there. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be a blast. I can't wait.
Super looking forward to the tournaments coming up.
I can't wait for all this to really get going here.
So really quickly, who do we think are the standouts in the distance? Obviously, we said Paige Pierce. We said Haley King. Katrina Allen. Are there any dark horses that we're looking at, or do you think that kind of covers
Who's
it?
kind of your next best up there? I would think Missy Gannon is the one that comes to mind. I know Rebecca can throw it just really far.
I was going to say the four that I had picked were Paige Pierce, Deanne Carey, Haley King, and Rebecca Cox.
Oh, Deanne Carey too? Okay.
Yep. Mostly because I was like, well, I was trying to go through and I was like, all right, well, if Paige picks this person, then picks this person, so on and so forth. So, and without knowing what accuracy was, and like, Deanne's got a pretty good arm.
Diane Carey and Heather Young, I just haven't really watched that much of.
Yeah.
I know the other names because they're consistently on your lead cards. So when you do kind of get your post-production stuff, they're on the lead cards. Those guys are always top finishers. I see their names a lot, but they're not necessarily on the lead cards where I've kind of watched them in the past.
And honestly, it's going to come down to Paige and Haley. And if Paige picks Haley right off the bat, then Katrina can just say, well, we're going to focus on something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we're assuming both you guys are going for distance. What's the next category where I can score a point?
Yep.
She might need to go back-to-back putter.
Yeah.
Let's be fair, having your putters in a mixed doubles tournament is always a solid bet. You're not going to go wrong, even though they're your, bottom tier kind of numbers at, 10 and 11. In a mixed doubles format, so you own one automatically, you'd assume, for putting.
Yep.
And then you can pick up potentially 2 more points based off of their pairings because, we can pair them up with a bomber and make up for their faults that way. It'd be a smart play. So it almost at that point makes it almost scary for Paige to want to go Haley right away.
Yeah, it was
because
in my breakdown.
If Paige thinks about that.
Yeah. In my breakdown, I had her actually picking. Who did I have her picking first? I had her picking Kona.
Kona?
Yeah.
I can see that too.
For accuracy. Mostly also because I wanted to see Paige and Haley duke it out for the distance. I tried to be, pick from Paige's perspective.
To open up.
Yeah. Pick from Paige's perspective and then pick from Katrina's perspective. But there's a little bit of it'd be really cool to see these two fight it out for distance.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be fair. If you get the opportunity, you want to see Eagle and Simon rip it.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
Same thing with Paul and Ricky. You want to see those two battle.
Yep.
Would they make a hell of a doubles team that you can't beat?
Yeah.
But I want to watch them battle.
Well, it goes back to, MLB. What saved Major League Baseball? Sammy Sosa versus Mark McGwire.
Yeah.
Watching those two slug it out for the home run race.
Yeah. It was all a ton of fun until you realize I'm a Brewers fan and I had to play against them both every year and it was rough.
And I was a White Sox fan and it didn't matter.
I'm a Cardinals fan, so you can guess who my favorite in that battle was.
I do have a few collector Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire baseballs when McDonald's was selling them. No, it's actually.
I know what you're talking about.
They're the photo balls.
I don't have them, but
they're the photo balls. They've got pictures, black and white pictures of Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire, and they had at one point it was 65 and then 70 and then what was it, 72, 73, something like that.
72 was the year.
Yeah.
Somewhere upstairs I have one of those crystal paperweight balls that has however many Mark McGwire hit that year. Somewhere I have one upstairs.
I have the Hallmark ornaments that I just kind of put, kind of the bats up right on the tree. They're always right next to each other.
Oh, nice.
Why a Brewers fan would have Cubs and a Cardinals on the same Christmas tree, but
but that was
just something you grew
history.
up with it. You loved it.
That was history.
Yeah. And then what? A couple years later was Barry Bonds trying to break that record. You look back on it now and you're like, oh yeah, those dudes were
roided out to hell.
Minds, but,
yeah. To be fair though, we learned through all of our studies, even with roids, you still have to put in the work.
Oh yeah. Oh for sure. Yeah. I'm not saying
I can't. Yeah.
But some of those that were
I could
close.
not take roids and go hit 72 home runs in a baseball.
Just to be able to have the hand-eye coordination to do that.
In freaking batting practice.
Yeah.
Let alone against the best pitchers in the game that may or may not have also been roided out.
Yeah, I mean, let's be fair. At that point, you just assume everybody for
everybody
those
was on
handful
it.
of years.
So it was
if it wasn't roids, it was HGH, and if it wasn't that, it was this. And it's like
it was all fair because everybody was on it.
And that's the thing.
We should add the caveat, allegedly.
Yes.
Yeah.
To all of this.
I do love the stuff going around right now.
That way our fire truck of lawyers can,
Yeah.
I do love the thing of that I've been seeing that the Giants should sign Bonds to a one-day contract to restart his clock and just keep him on the Hall of Fame voting for the next 10 years.
I love it.
Because I think this is his last year he's eligible.
It was. Well,
so if he doesn't get it, you can re-sign him to a contract and restart that clock. And I think that'd be awesome.
I think so,
the MLB's all-time leader in home runs and...
Wasn't it like walks or something like that, too?
On base percentage, stuff like that.
For Clemens.
Yeah.
It's like two of the all-time leaders in major statistical categories aren't in the Hall of Fame because they're associated with steroids in the age of steroids.
Yeah.
When everybody,
we can get into a whole conversation on that.
Yeah.
That's not what this podcast is about.
No.
And nobody wants to hear us ramble on about baseball.
Yeah.
Even though I'm sure that we all have strong thoughts.
We're kind of butting up at the end here.
Yeah.
I'd say this is a good place to end it on some steroids. The three of us totally roided out, yo.
Hey, look at us keeping it under a 2-hour episode this time.
Yeah, I got an hour 19 at this point, and that's probably with about 2 minutes before we actually started. So,
I got 118.
And 5 minutes of RJ stall when his camera's all over the place.
I'm probably leaving that in there. Those classic material right there. And if I don't, every listener's going, what the hell are they talking about?
Yeah.
So
wait, does that mean that we need to make up 5 minutes of material?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah.
I think I have a screaming baby I get to take care of for the next couple hours.
Let's move to our listener question now for the next hour.
Yeah. The listener question we don't have yet, but
no,
you
can submit.
Yes, if you want to submit a listener question, please feel free to do so on Twitter by just tweeting at us at halfinthebagdg, or you can go to Joe. Give us the info on Anchor.
Anchor.fm/halfinthebagdg. There should be a link with the podcast, so just follow that link. It automatically generates it. That's why it's probably not on the YouTube, because it doesn't automatically generate that. There's also a Joe's Disc Golf subreddit that I don't advertise.
Wait,
yeah, I don't really advertise it. However, and by don't really at all, I mean I never have. However, there are two people in the Joe's Disc Golf subreddit. I don't know who they are. They've both posted...
Is one of them you?
No. Well, technically, yes, I am in it, but I'm a mod, so I don't know if it counts. There are two other people besides me. And somebody posted, I like disc golf, and then the wording underneath was title. And I was like, okay, I don't know if it's spam or what, but hey, fast.
Hang on, what is this subreddit? I'm curious.
It's Joe's _disc_golf.
I think you just got 2 more.
Yep.
Well, I don't have a Reddit account, but...
Yeah.
Was it Joe or Joe's?
Oh.
Joe's.
Like Sloppy Joe's.
Yep. Jose's. 4 members. There are 4 members now.
Oh, there's 4 members.
5 now.
Well, I do not have the app, so
okay.
I will not be joining us.
5 now.
It said I was
Wow.
number 5. Look at that.
Woo!
Yep.
Almost as popular as this podcast.
Apparently,
maybe more popular.
somebody, anime protagonist, just wrote Joe's Disc Golf. That's it. As a title of a Reddit
That's
post.
the tweet. Joe's Disc Golf. That's it.
And somebody else wrote 1GR8BL58E1. Probably spam. Who knows? I personally love Joe's Disc Golf. Title. Probably spam, but
A lot of great conversations happening at
To be fair,
our
I don't know
Joe's
how to
Disc
use
Golf.
Reddit yet, so we'll see what I end up posting down the
Yeah, I
road.
don't. Reddit is a very special
Reddit is
place
Reddit.
where you don't put a lot of faith in humanity. It's worse than Twitter.
I mean, I used to be on their hosting site, Imager, but that was a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
So,
Oh well.
all right.
Oh,
So
man.
that's that. You know, the socials, Twitter, Half in the Bag
Yes.
DG,
Yes.
Instagram.
Half in the bag DG. Send us your discs.
Yay for enunciation. This is a
Please
Reddit.
tell me you did not have
DISCS.
issues with the DM on here.
No, I haven't yet.
Okay.
Nobody submitted anything. So,
I
if you
was
submit,
worried that you got a bad DM, and that's why we had to clarify that this
Well,
week.
you never know. There are dozens of people, just like
listening to this,
just
there
like
are
for any of
dozens
you,
of us.
the Never Nudes. There are dozens of us.
But yes, if you submit your disc for the disc of the week, you will likely get on there because we have gone through the 3 of us in the 3 weeks that we have done it. So please submit your disc of the week, and also submit your listener questions to Twitter or via Anchor FM. We would love to take them in the future.
Yep.
Especially next week when we still don't quite have tournament stuff to talk about. Would be really, really good.
Yeah, we won't exactly have we'll be able to talk about the draft and
and how this last event went.
Yeah.
So
And we need to figure out exactly what we're doing with next week because of the superb owl.
Yes.
And
we can figure
what
that
we're
out.
going to do with that.
We can figure that out
We
off
can't
air.
exactly record on Monday because there's this other day that I think we'll all be occupied during. So we'll have to figure out exactly what our recording schedule looks like.
I have a kid,
But
so
listeners, that's
Valentine's
a
Day
little
means
peek
nothing.
behind What? You aren't going to take Caitlin out to a nice romantic dinner at
the
Bob
kitchen
Evans
table?
or? Hey, you can order one of those heart-shaped pizzas from whatever pizza place.
Yeah.
is it I think Domino's used to do that. No, Pizza Hut?
Papa John's.
One of those.
No, someone did.
We
Either
have
way.
now named all 3 major
Little Caesars,
chains.
I think they deliver now. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, gentlemen listening, you have 8 days until Valentine's. So,
yes.
if you haven't planned
Don't mess
anything yet,
this up.
7 by the time you're listening to this.
press
Or
6
less.
because this will be out.
6.
This will be out on the 8th.
Is that what it is? Okay.
8 as we record. I was not wrong.
You know how we are all proud that we kept it under 2 hours? We're losing that streak.
Yes,
here.
we are. So, everybody have a great week. We'll see you all in the next. Talk to you all in the next podcast. Later.
Bye.
Bye.